It's been another memorable day here at Leopardstown for the champion trainer Willie Mullins. Galopin Des Champs bringing the house down, landing the Savills Chase yet again. With Festive finishing second. Willie, a great race obviously for the neutrals to watch once again. Just talk us through your emotions there as they went down over the final two.
Terrific race. I mean, it was all to play for. Both horses had the race run the way they wanted. Galopin Des Champs got to make the running, and Festive got a lead the whole way. You know, if you were in the Festive camp, you're thinking, how well is this going? And all he had to do was join him over the second last and maybe pass him over the last. But in fact, it was Galopin Des Champs that just kept quickening and finding all the time and went away from him after the last. You know, I thought it was probably Galopin Des Champs' best ever performance. It might, I mean, the handicappers will probably tell me it wasn't, but to me, knowing the horse, you know, having trained the horse for a second, knowing how good he is and the way he left him, you know, we were wondering was there going to be the changing of the guard here. Festive will be the new Gold Cup favourite, but Galopin Des Champs held on to his own, and I thought it was the best performance of his career.
I know you've been in this type of situation umpteen times before. How difficult is it for you to stay neutral in those circumstances? Was it hard not to lean one way towards Galopin Des Champs maybe?
Oh, I was totally in the Galopin Des Champs camp. Anyone asked me before the race, I said Galopin Des Champs is the horse until he's passed, and Festive would have to dig deep to pass him. Didn't think he'd have to dig as deep as today's performance, but Festive came here in terrific order, and to me, you know, a double Gold Cup winner. Loves Leopardstown. Festive would have to be what people thought he was to do it, and Galopin Des Champs just showed us how good he really is.
And obviously you're the man who's best placed to know whether he can bridge the gap, because he came up a little bit short today, Festive. But what is your feeling? He's the younger horse. Is there more improvement perhaps to get him up to that sort of level?
Well, we thought, you know, one wondered would Galopin Des Champs disimprove at his age, but traditionally a 9-year-old is the best year for a horse. You know, we're all wondering, should we be taking that 9 years back to 8 years of age? But he proved today that he's as good, and I think better than he ever was. To me, hopefully he hasn't put too much into it the early part of the season, but to come here and win a Savills Chase in the manner he did was a tremendous day anyhow. You know, the atmosphere here was fantastic. The crowd here really appreciated the race the two horses taking each other on, and it did a lot for racing, I think, to have a race like that.
Galopin Des Champs is properly in hurricane fly sort of territory now, isn't he, with the following he has and the reception he gets after these races. It was spine-tingling stuff.
Yeah, to see, I mean, I didn't really mind, but they were saying when he did a lap of the parade ring, you know, he got a huge, he was getting an ovation everywhere he walked, people were clapping. So he's Audrey, and you know, he mightn't be Audrey Turley's horse anymore, he might be more people's horse, but they loved, you know, he inspires that sort of thought in people. He wears his heart on his sleeve, goes out there, jumps and gallops, and he's well named.
Festive did make a significant enough mistake early on. Mark Walsh was kind of attributing that to the freshness he showed during the race, and his comment afterwards, he feels that maybe the freshness is going to hold him back in terms of turning over Galopin Des Champs, unless he learns to settle a bit better. But do you feel he will?
Yeah, but we can do that. You know, he was quite settled in his early days, I think. For his bumper here, he was too settled, and I think I took all the gear off. I just let him run in just an ordinary snaffle bit after that for a while. So maybe it's time to maybe put some gear back on him, but it'd be hard to see him bridging the gap going another 2 furlongs, wouldn't it?
I suppose it would. I mean, what about another clash in the meantime? Is there a chance they could both come here?
Every chance they'll come here. Yeah, every chance. Both horses, everyone being well.
Do you have reservations about that? I mean, would you be quite happy if JP and his crew said, "Oh, we'll wait, maybe to have another go in Cheltenham," or would you like to see them in again?
When, you know, it's the Irish Gold Cup, it's a race in itself, and we have to respect it. I do every year. I always take my best horses here, and when we have racecourses putting up the prize money, it is our Gold Cup, and I think we should treat it with respect, and that's what I do. I'll bring my best horses here.
That's great for us to hear as well. Relish the prospect of seeing them go to go again. Great result down in Limerick as well. Imperius Pass winning the big one down there. It sounds as though Daryl Jacob is going to be calling it quits maybe tomorrow, I gather, but that's going to be his last big win, and it was on one of yours.
Well, he was fantastic on it, because looking at the race beforehand, they looked all sort of 2.5 mile plus horses, maybe even 3 mile horses, and we sort of were saying to Darrell, you know, you're on the fastest horse, just sit and sit and sit. And halfway up the back, I mean, he took one or two little easy jumps and took him back out of the race and let the others get on with it, and rode him with such confidence. You know, just he waited until he got to the second last, got his position, he got the split, and just came through with huge confidence. So that's hard to do for a rider riding a favourite like that, and especially if a rider has retiring at the back of his mind, that's much harder again, you know.
Yeah, so he didn't look like a 40-odd-year-old over those last two fences, did he?
No, he rode him very brave, and he got the result that we were hoping he'd get.
Very, very talented horse, Imperius Pass. What would be in your mind for him? Will we see him here next time?
Look, he looks at 2.5 mile novice, and is it the Moriarty race? What do we call that nowadays? I'm not sure.
I'm like you, old school.
But anyhow, it's the 2.5 race, I think, the novice race. So he would look, that would look to be his plan, and then we'll see whether he'll go to Ferryhouse for the Ryanair or Liverpool for the 2.5 mile race in Liverpool.
Yeah, presumably with that 2.5 mile race gone at Cheltenham, owners will have an input into whether they stay at home or want to run at Cheltenham in one of the other races.
Well, there's no race for him really in Cheltenham, so it looked like he might be going Ferryhouse or Aintree.
Good stuff. And Kate Dothie won the first, Willie. I don't know whether there's a lack of confidence in the camp, but he drifted out to an extraordinary SP. I mean, was there any doubt that he'd do something like that after the fall?
No, my only doubt was that it was coming back too soon. Sometimes when you fall, you think that, okay, he hasn't had a race, but sometimes some horses just don't recover in time. But he did recover. He looks, I don't know whether you saw him in the race, but have you ever seen Madgeborough? If the two of them came up in the parade ring together, you'd say there were two brothers that just looked the similar stamp of horse. They're dark with a sort of a white face, and they're the same size and scope of one another. And Kate Dothie has been doing the same type of stuff at home. He's been impressing me that much. You know, so I was really disappointed when he fell in Navan. But today just blew away all those cobwebs, and he looks to be the horse we thought he was all along.
Proper grade one horse.
But I thought our other horse in the race is a grade one horse too. Now I know he only finished fourth.
Did make a very bad mistake, didn't he?
He did, and I think that maybe just knocked the stuffing out of him, you know, with inexperience. But he's a horse I think we can follow. I think people can follow later on.
Yeah, it's been an excellent day, Willie, and more of the same potentially tomorrow. Are all the ducks in a row, do you think, for State Man to turn it around with the mare this time?
We're very happy with State Man, yeah, very happy. So unless something goes wrong between here and tomorrow, but he's doing everything right at home.
Look forward to seeing him. And Lossie Mate, is she all okay after the race the other day? Have you done any tests or anything?
I actually just think that, I mean, if you remember the Triumph Hurdle, she ran away with Paul off the top of the hill, hit the front. She was always very keen. So all her training has been to settle her back. And her last couple of, all her runs this year have been over 2.5 miles. I think since the Triumph, I don't think she's raced over 2, has she? Maybe once. But every race we've been settling her and teaching her to settle rather than having her as free as she was as a juvenile. So I'd say when she jumped off the other day, she hasn't gone that pace early on in a race since the Triumph Hurdle, and she was just caught flat-footed. I love the way she stayed on the whole way to the winning lane. And a few people telling me that it's the first time Constitution Hill had to get a slap or two to wake him up. I'm not sure he ever got one before, is that right? You're watching every day of the week, can you tell me?
My memory's not great now, mind you.
Well, there we are, yeah.
But I was impressed by the way she hung in there now, in fairness, after looking in trouble so early.
To me, I thought she has every opportunity now to fall out of the back of the television, and she didn't. She stayed on, she'd come home fine, and just the next day we run, we might just give her a good sharp bit of work beforehand, and it'll be up to Paul then to settle her in the race. But I think over a different track, Kempton is sharp and flat, and she's won twice around Cheltenham. Sorry, Kempton is sharp and flat. Cheltenham is a different stage, and she'll be, I think, a bigger threat come Cheltenham. So over the track. It's
great to hear that positivity, I suppose, because initially you are disappointed with the way she went through the race and got beaten, but then you think about it maybe slightly different.
From the time the flag went up, I said this is not right, and I'm trying to figure out why, and I have explained to you why. So I haven't, we've set our minds on the champion hurdle, this year for her for the last 2 years. We're not just going to change plan yet. We'll give her another run, and we'll see. I think she's well entitled to her place in the Champion Hurl starting line. We all have to get there, don't we?
We do.
You and me included.
Exactly. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Willie, great day today. As ever, thanks for your time, and see you tomorrow.
Well done. Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.